Shalom Lechem. Why did the well dry up when Miriam died? That's the question we're going to address today. Chaim Alevsky, Chabad Family Programs of the West Side, New York City, on this beautiful, beautiful day. We're actually celebrating our Hebrew school graduation right now that I'm racing to. So I'll try to make this fast. But it's a beautiful idea. One of the rare moments where you see, as the Rebbe says, the truth of the Torah is manifest itself in all different dimensions. When something is true, like the word truth in Hebrew is emet, aleph, mem, taf. It's aleph is the first letter, mem is the middle letter, taf is the final letter of the Hebrew alphabet. If something is true, it's true everywhere. And sometimes we have a rare glimpse into seeing an idea, a truth of the Torah, play itself out in the physical, spiritual, emotional, psychological, and practical, biological, in all the different dimensions. And here we have a glimpse into something like that. So the question is, that in this week's Torah portion, Parshas Chukas, Miriam passed away. Miriam was Moshe's sister, and she passed away. The Torah says that right after she passed away, the ein mayim la'eda lishtot, there was no water for the congregation, for the Jewish people to drink. The well, known as the Be'era Shel Miriam, the well of Miriam, dried. There was a miraculous well that traveled along with the Jewish people in the desert, and when she passed away, it stopped. Why? What's the connection between Miriam and the water? There were other miracles in the desert. There were three miracles that are bunched together. One of them was the Be'era Shel Miriam, the well of Miriam, the water. Another was the manna that came from heaven, that we know that the Jewish people were sustained by heavenly food called the manna or the man, and that was in the merit of Moshe Rabbeinu, that who provide, of course he was the leader, but aside from that it says that in the merit of Moshe, the man came and sustained the Jewish people. In the merit of his brother Aharon, the clouds of glory protected the Jewish people. There were these clouds, physical clouds with a spiritual power that paved the way and removed all dangerous obstacles. And that was in the merit of their brother Aharon. And then the merit of Miriam, the sister, was the well, Be'era Shel Miriam. So now the Rebbe explores this idea and finds out what is the connection between Miriam and the water, and also Moshe and the food, and it's beautiful. It goes like this. So the Rebbe brings a halacha in the Rambam. The Mishnah, there's a law in the Mishnah that there's this concept of an eruv. The most popular, commonly known idea of an eruv is a string that circumvents or surrounds a certain area that creates a private domain and enables a Jew to transport an object out on Shabbos. That's what most people know what an eruv is. But the original eruv, or another eruv, is called eruv techumin. It's an eruv, same word, but it's something that allows a Jew to walk further outside of the populated city area. There's a law in the Torah that al yetzei ish mimkomo, a person on Shabbos is not allowed to leave their space. Now the space over here is the city, populated space, and if you want to go outside of the city, like in a field or in a desert, in the country, you need to place an item of food within 2,000 amma, and amma is about 1.5 feet, so basically about 3,500 feet within from your city to that location. You need to put an item of food there before Shabbos, so that if you go, let's say Shabbos afternoon for a stroll, you'll go there, you'll set your home there, you're establishing a home in that space, And then you can go another 2,000 amma. And you could do it again and again, as many times as you need. But there needs to be food, mazon, in those locations. That's the Mishnah, that's the Jewish law. The Rambam expands on this, and he says, the Mishnah says, Ein bakol me'arvin chutz mimayim. You're allowed to make this eruv, this place, this food item to create your home with any kind of food, but not mayim, not water. The Rambam asks, why is it that water doesn't work? And he goes on to a biological explanation. And he says, water is not sustenance. Food is sustenance. It provides the energy. But water, the function of water, says the Rambam, Maimonides, about 900 years ago, is to hydrate the body and to circulate, to enable the circulation of the food to all parts of the body, and to distribute the blood and the energy, and today we call it the oxygen also, to all parts of the body. So without the food, a person obviously can't live. But if someone has food but doesn't have water, doesn't have hydration in the body, then that food won't go where it's supposed to go. So this is what the Rambam says, that water is not considered food. It's a distribution system of the necessary distribution system of the food. Moving on, therefore you can't make an eruv out of this, out of water. It needs to be physical food. Says the Rebbe, this idea is also in the spiritual, in the Hasidic, in the inner dimension of the Torah, where the idea of food and water is compared to, in ourselves, in our psychological makeup, to our mind and heart and our body, the distribution of what's in the mind and the heart. So the Rebbe says a person can learn Torah and understand a lot and be very knowledgeable, and a person can feel for the mitzvot, be very, very enthusiastic about and love God and the Torah, but they don't necessarily act upon it. And the Rebbe says the missing element over here would be the water. So the mind, the knowledge in the mind, and the feelings of the heart parallel and represent the food, the sustenance, the distribution of that knowledge and feeling into action, into our body, into the very last fiber of our, the distribution of that mind, the knowledge of the mind and the feelings in the heart into our body is the water, where we take what we know and what we feel and we act upon it. That's in the spirit, in the spiritual, psychological dimension. Now, says the Rebbe, in the practical application, we have Moshe, who was the male, Miriam was the female. Moshe provided the food, Miriam provided the water. Says the Rebbe, this also happens on a cosmic level, on a global scale, for the Jewish people in the world of education. We had the first Jewish couple was Avraham and Sarah. Says the Rebbe, Avraham taught and provided the framework, the seed, the point of the path forward, of what path his family, us, his nation, and the world at large should follow. So Avram provided the seed, the point, the food. Sarah, the female, expanded that food, developed that seed, and implemented it in her home. And the Rebbe says, you see actually in the story of the Torah, the biblical account, where there was somewhat of a dispute between Avraham and Sarah about what to do in a matter, in a field of education, with Ishmael, Hashem said to Avram, who was the father figure, who was the one who introduced monotheism and justice and goodness and kindness to the world and to his home, Hashem told Avram, Kol asher tomer alecha Sarah, shema bekola. Whatever Sarah, your wife, tells you, listen to her voice. Listen to Sarah. Listen to the mother, because she has the ability, and she's the one who's able to appropriately implement and manifest all of the teachings in the proper way in the home. And the Rebbe applied it to today's day and age also, where the Rebbe said the central role of the husband, the father in the house, is to provide the framework and the direction of that it should be a house based on Torah and mitzvot and halacha, Jewish law. But the mother is the one who plays the more central role in implementing it in the day-to-day life with her children, in observance of the rituals of Shabbos, of Yom Tov, kosher food, etc., etc. So, to wrap it up, this was why the well dried when Miriam died. Because in the desert, Moshe provided the manna, the food from heaven, the sustenance. It was actually a physical food, but had spiritual powers. And Moshe provided that. And who distributed it? It was the water of Miriam. Miriam represented the female figure in the home that distributed the water, distributed the food, and made it digestible, and provided the circulation that the water provides in the body, and brings that energy to places where it needs to go in the physical body, but also in our spiritual life. And that's the story, and that's why Moshe is connected to the man, Miriam is connected to the mayim, to the water, and so too that's why we play our respective roles in our family lives today. God bless you. And it's a beautiful way to where you see there's one truth, there's one idea, that the male represents the seed, the planting of the seed, the point, the kernel. The female represents the expansion of it, the developing of that seed, biologically also. But not only biologically, also in matters of education, and it also plays itself out in a Jewish law and a halacha about Eruv, etc., etc. Take care. God bless you.